Hello, welcome to the Alamo Scenario Moment. My name is Aaron Spear.
And I'm Brad Hathcock.
Hi,
Welcome back, buddy.
welcome back. Let's just get right into it. Aliens. No. Um, Actually, on the way up from this doctor's appointment I was just telling you about, I listened to the new Sum 41 last album, double album, and it's really good.
Is it
Yeah, I really enjoyed
both?
it.
Like both albums?
I didn't listen to the second disc yet, but
It's
man,
what, Heaven and Hell, right?
yeah, it's fun. It's just like a good time.
Which is the first disc? Heaven, I guess.
Yeah, Heaven.
And then they made
um,
Hell the second disc.
Yeah, there's a song on there called Landmines that's really fun. It's really catchy. Yeah, I just I'll miss those guys. I'll miss that band.
That just came out, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. We saw
Yeah.
the show we went to was their second to last tour. I think they're on tour now for the last time.
I think so. A solo headlining tour, I think, right?
I haven't looked into that. I don't know. I know
We'd have to
they
see that.
yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of crazy that bands go as long as they have. Like I always think of 311 because they were founded in 1989 or 88 in Omaha, Nebraska, and they still put out albums today. Like it's pretty wild.
Man, I remember listening to 311 throughout probably the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff like that. I mean, we were when we were driving back from Kentucky just recently. I put on some list and Down came on from 311, and I was like, "Dude, I haven't heard this song in in years."
They've had like I usually have all their albums and like they've had their ups and downs, but like the fact that they
But
can
when
even
you've been
put
a
out
band that long,
yeah.
you have your ups and downs. Like, I love Tool, but I'm not going to sit here and say every song that they make is my favorite song.
And when you're 311, like you've already written all the songs about all the things. So like I don't know. It's just like they're just making pop music and it's fun.
They're like a good vibes band.
Mhm.
Like they're just you can just kind of always listen to them, and they're fun and energetic. Like they're
That
just
album,
a joy to listen to.
yeah, their joy. Their album Transistor is like my favorite of their albums. It's just stacked with like awesome, great, weird songs that are very different from all their other songs and albums. Sum 41, thumbs up on the last album of their band.
I'll have to check it out. I wonder what they're gonna go on and do, because I know there was like a rumor that the lead singer was gonna go and do Linkin Park, and then obviously they picked that chick, and their new album just came out with her as the lead singer on it.
I haven't
So
listened to it.
I won't.
I don't think I will either.
I've listened to some of the songs that she just did, like from their old albums. I don't think her voice is that good. I truly don't.
It just doesn't fit. I heard the same thing. I heard like crawling in my skin. I was like, it's just different. Not great.
No, not at all.
All right. So where shall we begin?
Aliens are invading New Jersey. Thank God. Someone's got to get rid of those fuckheads.
It's been 3 weeks since this started happening, and nobody's asking any questions in the media. They're just like ignoring it. I don't understand that.
I wish there was a full-scale invasion of New Jersey by aliens, and not the illegal aliens. I mean, like space aliens.
Why not
But
both?
they should just stop, take over New Jersey. They can fucking have it, and everyone can move on.
You know, what I don't get is like I get that the media has been covering for the Biden administration for 4 years now, but like it's over, man. Like you can cover the fucking drones now. Mayorkas is done. You know, like Homeland Security. Like it's over, man. Just cover the bad news.
Well, I mean, they kind of avoided the whole uh, air balloon, like the hot air balloon thing for a while, or those Chinese air balloons that were flying over the United States. They also flew over like Canada and stuff as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But they just completely ignored that. They don't really know what they were or like doing, except for we know that they were definitely transmitting data back to China. What data were they transmitting? Who knows? But it had to have been something to do with military bases and other stuff. I mean, the Chinese have been purchasing all this land near military bases, and the United States has just been allowing this to happen. So now not only own like a third of our economy, they also own a bunch of land near all of our military bases. One of the things that Trump said that he would like to do is force the sale of that land back to probably the United States government or something like that. But who knows, like, if that can even happen? I can't, like, can they just refuse to sell? I mean,
That's a great question. I mean,
because
Chinese don't have
like
rights.
they could litigate it in court, but you can't force them to sell it either because they aren't American citizens. They don't have to abide by your court system.
Well, it'd be like
So,
buying
like,
land in like China, and they would just take it because they don't have
well,
laws.
and the thing is that they don't allow that. So, one of the things that the reason why people say China is so far ahead of us is because we allow this kind of shit to happen. We like are allowing regulation on AI and stuff like that where China is not. And same with like land purchases, all that stuff. They just do whatever they want. Except for apparently with CRISPR technology, they did arrest that one doctor who CRISPR'd like engineered some babies that can't get diseases and shit, and they're just out there in the world, and they arrested him on like an ethics violation. But I think that was more along the lines of like a global, we have to look like we're clamping down on this shit, but they're probably not. They probably put that guy in a lab somewhere and he's geoengineering some, super soldiers for China or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who
Heard it
knows?
here first. Super soldiers.
So there's these drones popping up now in Southern California, I think Pennsylvania, and Chengdu in China. They had one there. That's unverifiable because it's China, but I don't know, man. These drones are they're if it's from a private company, that'd be one thing, and I would get that. What bothers me is that they fly at night. I don't see what the purpose is to fly at night.
Well, it's a little bit easier to cover yourself at night, you
Is
know,
that true? I mean,
with cloud cover. Yeah. I mean, it's dark,
they have lights on them.
yeah, but video at night is always just not as good as it is during the day. So, you're going to get the grainy video. And if you look at every video that comes out of these things, they're not exactly super clear. It's
Well,
just like every other alien video. But people in Jersey apparently were saying that, like, we were driving under one and like our clock stopped and stuff like that. But they don't know what these are and they're not even trying to find out. So,
it's wild. Like there was a video of a plane, a passenger jet landing at the airport there, and it flew like over one of these fuckers, and the person filmed it from the window. And it's like it's obviously a hazard, but like you said, nobody's interested in finding out what's going on. Even people that are in like governors or whatever, they're like, "What's going on here?" You know?
well, and they sit there and say that like they don't have the technology to send up anything to like find out what it is. The whole thing seems a little wild. Obviously it's not the first time people have claimed to see like aliens and drones, but we're seeing them a lot more now than we have in the past. But the prevailing thought here is, I think, the world has never in truth been as close to nuclear war probably than we are today. Obviously, all the upheaval that we're seeing with the Iranians, the Russians, all that stuff, who are nuclear armed powers, Iran is, as we know. And
For now,
aliens, the thought was always like the aliens are basically watching us build nuclear power and they're like, you guys are going to kill yourselves. And they're just like watching Earth. So I guess it makes some kind of sense, but like, why would you pick New Jersey? Is there
that's
like a glut of like nuclear silos in Jersey or something?
that's the thing. I mean,
And
they're
also, if you're watching New Jersey and you've seen New Jersey and probably Jersey Shore, why wouldn't you just wipe out that fucking state and save us all the trouble?
I should admit, I want to admit this to you. This is a safe space for us. The only reality show I ever watched and actually liked was The Jersey Shore, just because
Of course,
they were just such scumbags, and I just loved it.
they're degenerates.
Yeah,
My wife and I, we watched, like, we occasionally go back and like watch the seasons like when we run out of like trash TV to watch, which is really hard because they just crank out season after season after season of trash TV. Like Love is Blind does like 2 seasons a year, and it's gloriously awesome because these people are so broken. It's like it's real fun to watch, and that's why I like trash TV, because all these people are like broken idiots, and they still are cranking out seasons of Jersey Shore.
I
Like,
saw, yeah.
but they're all like 40 something years old now with families, so it's like just not even fun to watch.
My favorite line from that show was the one of the girls that was on there. She was only on the first season, and then she never came back. I think you know who I'm referring to. And
Angelina,
I don't know their names, but yeah,
she came back. Yeah,
I
she
heard
came
that.
back.
I remember at one point one of the guys turned to her on that show and called her the Staten Island Dump, which I thought was just a fucking hilarious. It was so funny. I was like, I'm in. This show's great.
I mean, it's true. I've watched every season of it for the most part, except like the newer stuff that they put out. Like I said, they're just old now. But like Pauly D is like the second or third most popular like DJ in the world or something. Like that dude just makes money hand over fist. Like, so they were doing another season, and during COVID, and Pauly D rented out like an entire hotel for them to live in for a while. Like, yeah, he's got some money. It's not a big deal for him. But he's also done multiple shows, spin-off shows. Like he had like some dating show for a while. They've all kind of had some kind of like spin-off thing, but it's amazing that, I mean, we're going on 20 some years and they're still somewhat relevant.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty wild.
So maybe the aliens are here to stop us from reigniting Jersey Shore. Because who knows? They'll do like a reboot with a new cast or something.
Oh, they do Jersey Shore Kids.
Maybe
That
once they're old enough, that's definitely probably going to happen.
they'll have their own children to carry on the legacy.
Well, we've been going back and watching like the real world, and you can kind of start to see when it starts to get a little too like woke for me.
Mm,
They start like putting in certain people, and people just start like talking differently, but they used to say words like retarded and things like that, which people, you're not allowed to say it anymore, so
yeah.
you can definitely see the divide. But we've been going back and watching at least seasons where we know like some of the people, because we still watch the challenge, which has been on forever, which just
Mm-hmm.
hit its 40th season.
Jeez.
And so we're like going back, and they do, I think, like almost two a year of the challenge. It's been on like 20 some years. And we're going back and watching some of the people that we know are on the challenge or were on the challenge, and we're
Theo
going back
Vaughn.
and watching, yeah, their real world. I'm excited to see that one. I haven't seen that one come up because they don't have every season on Amazon, but he would have been in one of the later seasons anyway. So
God, I still remember all those MTV days where you'd come home and like what was it called, the TLR TRL?
yeah, TRL, Total
Yeah,
Request Live, yeah,
yeah.
like in the afternoon during the weekdays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I.
Dude, MTV had strong programming for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and now their best running show is Ridiculousness with what's his face, the skateboarder guy.
I've never even heard of it. You could just.
I can't remember his name right off the Rob Deerdeck. So it's basically, do you remember what was the show with it was on Comedy Central,
Oh God, they
where
had their
he
own.
would watch videos and like make fun of them and stuff. I mean, it was Talk Soup was like one of those, right? Where you
I
would
think
watch
that's what
videos.
you're referring to.
No, there was another one that was on Comedy Central. Talk Soup was on E. And then Comedy Central had one with, I'm trying to remember the comedian. Can't remember his name right now either. Brain
He
farting on it.
he's famous. He's well known. He's in like comedy still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, yeah, I don't think he does like movies, but he was like an asshole. Daniel Tosh. Tosh Point
Oh,
was
Tosh
it.
Point oh.
Yeah, where they would like watch videos and like make commentary about it and stuff. That's what ridiculousness is. They basically watch videos, and Rob Deerdeck makes fun of them, and he's not really funny, so.
It's a Bob Saget, man. Way ahead of his time.
America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
I think that's still on in some form today.
Who's
But
watching that?
the grand prize is like $5,000. Like that's nothing. I mean, why would you take the time?
I can't believe people would record on a VHS tape and mail that shit in. Like that is
I was just at a engagement party on Friday, and somebody had a camcorder. I was like, "What is this, 1997? Like, what the
That's
fuck are you
cool.
doing?"
Where would you get one? I don't even know where you'd find them.
Amazon. You can buy them all on Amazon, dude. They have. I don't know if you remember, like people are buying disposable cameras and taking pictures with them now, or the
Hmm.
cameras that like print shit. Now they have these like cameras where they have like a little printer and you can take it, and then it's basically just like you can print it out. Like you can connect it to your phone or something and like print pictures
It's like the old
from it.
Polaroids. You take a.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that now.
I mean, they even have like those Instagram filters that are like VHS grain on them, and
Yeah. It's like old becomes new, right? And then
hmm.
it becomes old again. I'd never thought in my life that I would see camcorders and like Polaroid pictures and stuff become that like new thing again. But
Well,
I
I
guess
guess
it
I didn't
is.
either. But like, we just saw like Alien Romulus came out on VHS. Like, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's neat.
Did you get it?
I did not know.
I'm
You know,
shocked.
I do have a VHS player, and I do have VHS collection still.
I just can't imagine that the quality of VHS got any better. That's why we moved to digital discs, because the quality of actual tape for VHS tapes, it was terrible. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
like,
awful. I
remember when they would come like unspooled and all that shit would like shoot out the bottom like for cassette tapes, and you'd have to like wind it back with a pen and shit?
Yeah, now that we're getting like old manny here, I mean there were actual like devices where you would just have a thing that rewound the tape. So you would just plug it into it would be like a we had one. It was
Yeah. Oh
like a
yeah.
Cadillac, and then you open the hood and you'd slide the tape in to
Yep.
rewind it.
And then if you didn't and you took a movie back to Blockbuster, you'd get fucking like fined basically for not rewinding.
Yeah,
That's
there were
where Be
fees.
Kind Rewind came from.
Yeah. Like that is now that you mention it, it is kind of wild that like that even came back at all, but I don't know, man. It's kind of cool. I'm like, sure, why not?
Well, look at vinyl. Like vinyl records are huge, absolutely huge today. And they make record players that are just like basically Bluetooth speakers where you can connect them to your phone. And everyone's like, well, it sounds so much better on vinyl, which I guess people still believe today. But
I
again, you can just
I can't
connect
tell the
your record
difference.
player to your phone.
Yeah, I
I
have
yeah, I don't
that.
have an ear for that. Like,
Yeah, I can't tell the difference. Like I have, speaking of Sum 41, I have one of their other albums on vinyl that I got fairly recently, and I put it on the Bluetooth speakers and could not tell you the difference.
no, me either. I don't know. I like vinyl. Like, I have a couple. I got like the Beastie Boys greatest hits, which is nice. I have two Tool albums on vinyl because the artwork with the vinyl is actually also really cool. You know, Tool always does like some really neat artwork. So the artwork that they include with the vinyls is like really nice.
Yeah, there's also like laser discs. Also, they have that big format, and the box art on those are always really cool too. It's like it's really neat. Laserdisc was also kind of wild, just like way ahead of its time.
I remember when like Lateralis came out with Tool, it came with like a DVD and it had like some of the videos and stuff on it and it had like artwork. So it was all like digital on like a DVD and stuff when Lateralis came out. And that was like pretty cool at the time. And then the book was like a clear paged book. And like, you know, those clear page like anatomy books where every page it like strips away of like skin. It was kind
Like
of
a
like that, I
layer, yeah.
think. Yeah.
Um, they also there's another Tool album that had the rotoscope or whatever you call it, where it had the little lenses, and you looked into it, and it made it look like it was 3D. The CD booklet that was
Oh,
kind
that's
of cool.
cool. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see that one.
I have that around here somewhere. But I was gonna say that just like the aspect ratio of all those old movies and stuff is why like digital's so much better, because you can go back now, watch an old movie, and you'll get like an extra like foot of screen that wasn't
Oh
available
yeah.
because it was all 4 by 3, you know?
I would be interested to see Alien Romulus on VHS
Just out of curiosity, mostly.
because I would like to watch it side by side with a VHS copy of Alien and see like what the difference is between a very old, obviously in Alien since it came out in 1979, and then 2024 Alien Romulus and see the difference in picture between obviously just having better cameras and stuff like that now, if that translates well to VHS. Probably not. It's probably a grainy piece of shit.
Yeah, I would, and you'd have to watch it on a 4x3 television to get the full experience because you couldn't, it wouldn't look right on a widescreen TV.
That's true too, yeah.
That's really weird. Huh. Also, the audio from back then too was just absolute shit.
Would be trash. I mean, you'd. I think it would be an interesting experiment to do. I think you could do it. Obviously, you have a VCR. I don't.
You know, the
I don't
only
know.
thing,
My in-laws might. I'm not sure. They probably do.
the only thing I usually keep everything, right? And so I have everything, but I did get rid of all my old CRTs, and I kind of regret not keeping one, but they're just so fucking heavy to like move. Like, ugh, they're just too heavy to keep.
Do you have an 8-track player?
I do not. I don't even know what. I don't even know if you could get. I'm sure you could.
You can. I've like I go to like Goodwill and stuff like that a lot because they actually do have like some pretty good finds at places like that, and they have consistently had 8-tracks for sale. But they're also like $2, and like who the fuck's gonna pay $2 for an 8-track tape?
I mean, maybe me. I'm looking on Amazon right now. They have a brand new 8-in-1 Bluetooth record player and multimedia center. It's got a turntable, and I searched 8-track. It might have an 8-track player on it.
That wouldn't be shocking to me if it did.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Okay.
Again, what's old is new.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
anyway, aliens are invading New Jersey, hopefully.
All right, so we did the aliens thing. We went to the well.
Hope you're happy, Adam.
We just talked about all kinds of alien related things. We recorded a podcast last time, and we did not mention that about the sorry, there's music going on in the background in your house?
Yeah,
What is that?
my wife's about to do a ride on our Peloton.
Okay, so it's fine or whatever, but yeah,
No, she turned it down.
okay, good. What was I saying? We didn't talk about the pardons. There were more pardons, obviously bad. I think that pardon power should just be like, I don't know what you would do, reform it somehow.
So it's, I guess, technically written into the Constitution, right? Like you have this pardon power. It very clearly gets like abused, obviously. But I think this is one of the biggest abuses, like, because it's not only that Biden pardoned his son for like the crimes that he was found guilty of. He pardoned him for things that he may have done even prior to that date, because those crimes he didn't even commit until like 3 years after the dates in which like the pardon is eligible for. So he just basically was like, hey, yeah, we definitely, all those crimes that you said that we committed, and that we said we didn't commit, we definitely committed them. And I'm pardoning my son because, as we heard, basically Hunter Biden, I heard a rumor, threatened to write a book about like everything that went on if he didn't get a pardon. And lo and behold, he gets a pardon.
The date's also key because it's like right before he joins that Ukrainian energy board, and then that's when all the bad stuff supposedly happens. So timing is perfect.
The timing couldn't have been better. I mean, we all know that Joe Biden basically threatened to withhold like $1 billion loan to Ukraine unless they got rid of this prosecutor who was ironically looking into Burisma right after, like right when Hunter Biden got appointed there. So we know that there's some kind of pay for play, quid pro quo, something going on there. But it doesn't matter now. I mean, Hunter's been pardoned, along with a bunch of other people.
A lot of bad people.
A lot of bad people. There was the one guy who was arrested with like 47,000 pieces of like child pornography on his computer, multiple videos of children being, sodomized and stuff like that by adults. And he just commuted this guy's sentence.
And there were also 2 Chinese spies. That was the third guy was also Chinese. And then there was the guy who was a judge who was prosecuting I think, teenagers and sending them off to like jail or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was in New York. So basically, what was happening was they have like a for profit juvenile prison system, and he was getting kickbacks to give harsher sentences to juveniles to send them there. So he was abusing his power as a judge and giving these kids harsher sentences for kickbacks. Like, why would you pardon somebody like that?
Yeah, and then there was also the woman who I guess she like embezzled $43 million from like a very small town, and they're like still dealing with that, the consequences of today. So that one was bad also.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. He was probably just given a list of people, um, but I think it was what 1,500 something like that people roughly got pardoned or sentences commuted, and it's the largest number of pardons ever issued by a lot. I think it's like 4.5 times like what anybody's ever done before, something like that. I thought I
Yeah,
saw like the most was like 300 something.
it's more than that. I think Bush had like 800. But the problem with the Hunter Biden one is that all of the bad shit Hunter Biden did, there's people rotting in jail right now for the same exact shit, and they will never get out. And he got away with all of it, and that's why it's awful.
Oh, absolutely. But he also went on and lied constantly, saying he will not pardon his son and all this other stuff. I believe in the rule of law. My son won't be pardoned or protected. And here we are, and then Karine Jean Pierre tried to like spin it and be like, well, he just made this decision. He was thinking about it over
Mm.
Thanksgiving. No, Hunter Biden probably told you he's going to write a tell all book.
He
And
still
then,
may.
and then you'll be indicted.
I mean, the guy's always strapped for
It too.
cash. Like, why wouldn't he write a book after
He's not
Biden
strapped for
dies?
cash. He's got all his artwork hanging in the fucking White House that they turn around and sell as a White House painting.
Well, apparently he still owes some guy in LA like millions of dollars in unpaid rent because he was like crashed out at this guy's pad for a few months. And
That's never gonna.
no,
Come
of
on,
course not.
that guy's probably a drug dealer.
I, it's just wild.
He's
Also,
never gonna come after him for that money.
we also like you could just it was Biden's cocaine, right? Like at the White House. I mean, all this stuff. Like he's still a
Joe
drug
Biden's.
addict. Well, no, Hunter Biden like that was obviously his cocaine, right? So like the guy still got like drug issues, I would say.
Remember how they found like hundreds of people after January, but they can't figure out whose cocaine it was at the White House when it could have been like 10 people.
Yeah. I mean, you just all this shit is just like after.
You smuggled cocaine into what is arguably one of the safest, most well protected and screened places in the world.
Hmm. Yeah, having been there, like there were
And of
the
course, it was just some asshole who was touring the White House dropped some cocaine in a room that you're not even allowed to go to on a tour.
exactly, yeah. I mean, there was when I was on my tour, there was like a little kid that wandered just like 2 feet away from where he was supposed to be, and like these guys you didn't even notice in the room popped out of nowhere, and they were like, "Don't go that way." So like, it's I think we all know what else is going on.
Man,
Can we talk
what?
the Sednaya prison in Syria? They recently went through all that. This place was like supposedly unspeakable. Nobody talked about it. If you talked about it, you maybe got sent there. And they've been going through and finding. I was listening to a podcast this morning about it. That's why it's fresh on my mind. They had a giant steel press, and they were literally liquidating the bodies of prisoners there after they were executed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Well,
wild shit.
CNN decided to go in and free a prisoner
Do tell.
from underneath like the fucking floorboards of a house, and
Clarissa Ward.
he allegedly gave some false identification of himself, but turns out he was a terrorist, and it was like Assad's like right hand man when it comes to torturing people, and he like led basically some of the torturing campaigns that Assad ran on people within his own country. So CNN is now trying to do a fact finding mission to
Mm.
figure out this guy's true identity, but he apparently was like, "Oh, the light! I haven't seen the light in forever." But he was like perfectly manicured, like facial hair and like all this other stuff. And he's like, "I've been under those floorboards for months." No, the fuck you haven't. You're just hiding because the terrorist organization, aka the liberators of Syria, came in and you were scared for your life.
It's crazy because like CNN, like I believe that Clarissa Ward is so dumb that she would literally believe this story and report it. And it was plainly obvious if you watch the video that it was all fake.
I think it's plainly obvious that CNN doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and they are trying to get like more viewership and bumps because their viewership has tanked something like, I don't know, 40%. And they're trying to spin it like CNN, MSNBC, they're trying to spin this now that like, well, after an election, everybody loses, some kind of viewership. Fox hasn't. It's actually up 12%.
Yes.
But they're like, even Fox lost viewership after the last election, but they only lost like 6% of their viewers. You've lost 40 some percent of your viewership. That is not 6%. That is
MSNBC
40 fucking percent.
like they're averaging, they have like 42,000 viewers at any given time. Like when you think about that, it's shocking.
Nobody wants to watch their shit anymore. And they're basically hoping, like this person that was talking about this even said that like after the inauguration, it'll go back up because they think Trump's just going to say some wild shit. And then people are going to tune back into those places to see like the coverage of what Trump has said. The problem is Trump has been very hinged ever since he won the election. Like he's not really saying a bunch of wild, crazy shit. Like he just sat down with NBC or ABC for like his first in like full on like 1 hour interview after the election. And he had a lot to say. I mean, the one thing that they're trying to parse out from that hour-long interview is basically that they're trying to say, oh, well, look, he's not going to bring grocery prices down. He's saying he can't do it. That's actually not what he said. He's saying it's very hard. But I believe that like if we fix our energy problems and if we fix our supply chain problems, that those prices will come down. And that's what, people are just cutting off at it's very hard. And I don't know, because that's really the truth. Like he can't necessarily just bring prices down immediately. Not everything happens immediately after an election, except for when he's not even in office and he's threatening these tariffs. And now we've seen the finance minister in Canada quit because she was about to be reassigned for talking shit about Trump and his tariffs. And now Trudeau's talking about resigning because they can't do anything. Like if Trump decides to impart a 25% tariff on Canada, it could crush their economy. And their economy is already not doing well.
They threatened to withhold oil, and it's like, oh no, not that. I should go back real quick and mention that, he got indicted. He got all these indictments against him. He got twice almost assassinated. And then ABC just paid $15 million to his presidential library because George Stephanopoulos went on with Nancy Mace, and he was basically said, like multiple times he said this. He said, oh, he's been accused of rape. Well, that was a defamation lawsuit. He won it, and that was because ABC didn't want discovery, because if they went through the discovery process, they would find out George Stephanopoulos probably had a lot of nasty emails, and they were just like, oh, we can't do this. Like the lawyers just said, let's give him 15 million.
I think it's really important to understand too that it is very difficult, almost impossible to
Very.
prove defamation.
In America, for sure.
So when you win a defamation lawsuit, you've won like
Because they were
100%.
because ABC was going to lose more if they went through with it.
100% they would. And then Trump would have just owned ABC basically. But I think you're very right in that assumption. someone else, I think it was Joy Reid or something, just said the same thing as George Stephanopoulos. So I think there's another pending defamation lawsuit coming, right?
And there's a defamation lawsuit against Jake Tapper and CNN from a veteran as well. This is how the problem gets fixed. The media is broken. They could push it to a certain limit, but when they're like actively, they're just saying crazy shit. You know, you can win these lawsuits. Money talks. That's how universities are paying the price for how they treated Jewish students on campus. Like, there's lawsuits. They come through. It takes time, and that's how you fix. That's how you fix it.
Right. I agree completely.
Hit them in the pocketbook.
Something needs to happen with the media and everything. Obviously, all the lies and stuff, like, they need to lose these lawsuits to try and like fix the situation, like you said. So we'll see what happens, because I imagine there'll be another settlement. I mean, 15 million is nothing compared to all the money they tried to hit Trump with, right, for the fraud, which obviously he's not going to have to pay that now. You know,
I
they're
mean,
dropping everything. So
you say it's not a lot, but like, I don't know, man. ABC News Division, just, you know, they have to pay that out. That might be a pretty penny. And also, we should mention like Nicholas Sandman with CNN. You know, like, he got defamed and won his lawsuit against CNN because they,
yeah,
yeah. So
I forgot about that. Well, and then obviously this isn't a defamation thing, but Daniel Penny just got,
he might get a defamation lawsuit because
they keep calling him a murderer, I think, and he just got let go from all that. So who knows? I mean, I know Kyle Rittenhouse is always like kind of fighting back, and he's getting civilly sued as well for what happened. So he was always like trying to trump up some kind of like money for lawyers and whatnot. So he might have some defamation coming too, because they were all calling him a murderer, and he got off for that. So,
well, they said Daniel Penny is just like the guy who shot that United Healthcare CEO in the back. They're the same because and it's like, no, they're not. Absolutely not. One of them was trying to like protect the general public in the subway. The other guy went out in broad daylight or night and shot a guy in the back. He assassinated him. He's being
yeah,
heralded as
we
a
haven't even
hero.
really talked about that. He is being heralded as a hero. Elizabeth Warren just said something about him. Like, she's putting out there that basically this is what has to happen, or like is deserved, right?
Well, it's always murder is bad, but, and it's always
Right.
that but. And it's
Right.
like,
That's what'll get you though. You know, they are gonna use this to push single payer healthcare for sure, the Democrats, but good luck. That's dead in the water for at least the next 4 years. I mean,
well,
guaranteed.
I'll tell you how crazy it is. You are going to make this guy a hero, and what's going to happen is you're going to replace a big pharma CEO with politician. And everywhere else in the world, these politicians run government healthcare. In the UK, for example, what happens then? You've created a martyr, and now that martyr is going to create copycats. It's already happened once in Florida, I think, where this woman was making threats, and yeah, you're going to have people who are like these copycats, and they're going to go out and attack the problem. And it might not be the corpo dude. It might be somebody else.
I think what's really kind of funny and getting lost a little bit in the talk about like this healthcare stuff, right? Because of this assassination, is what's going on with like RFK Jr. We're starting to see companies and like the FDA be like, oh, well, yeah, like there's an issue that now doctors believe that seed oils, which RFK Jr. has been railing against, saying that they're toxic, is causing cancer in young people because everybody's using seed oils because they're healthier, right?
Uh huh.
But they're actually not. They're apparently cancer causing. So there's a lot of things that RFK Jr. has talked about that directly relate to health, and understanding these things will help with the healthcare system, because there is no emphasis on preventative care. We treat the symptoms, not the problem in this country. And I think RFK Jr. is trying to fix that and trying to put a light on it. And people just look at him because he says, you know, people are like, well, he thinks vaccines cause autism. It's not what he says. He wants to study that. So, you know, he just needs to kind of rein it in a little bit. And I think he's capable of doing that when he gets there. Everyone's scared of him. just as right now everyone seems to be scared of Trump. Like we said with Canada, Mexico broke up two separate migrant caravans that were on their way to the United States border because of Trump's tariff threats. And he hasn't even been inaugurated yet. And people are bending the knee. And you're seeing chaos sown everywhere else except here. Shockingly. Again, Canada, you got politicians dropping like flies up there. Germany just did a vote of no confidence in Scholz or whatever his
Olaf
name is.
Scholz.
Olaf Scholz, and they're going to have a snap election. France, you might see Macron get ousted in France, and Marine Le Pen stepping up to step in. Like
The United Kingdom.
the United Kingdom is in shambles. Is it even still Cernak?
No, that
I
was
don't even
Rishi
know.
Sunak.
Yeah.
No, this the guy right now is I forget his name because we don't on this podcast we don't remember names, but Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer. Okay.
Yeah,
You're seeing Assad get ousted by former Al Qaeda members turned liberators, apparently, who say they want free and fair elections.
maybe
So
they do.
Assad escaped to Russia. It's all over the place, dude. You're seeing like Iran is hurting right now because of everything that's happened with Assad falling, the ceasefire that's happening in Lebanon, like
This
all
is,
this shit.
by the way, all of that happened because Yale Sinwar decided he was just going to do that operation on October 7th, and the consequences are being felt everywhere, and not it's like there's such a long tail on that shit. It went
Right.
from that one attack to Hezbollah gone, Hamas gone.
So, listening to Sean Ryan's podcast, he had Sarah Adams on, who is a CIA, I believe she's a CIA spook and everything, right? But she said that Hamas didn't even necessarily plan that attack. Al Qaeda planned that attack, and that basically Al Qaeda is putting together all of these terrorist organizations to make like one giant like army of Islam, and that they have like planned attacks. They are trying to put like 1,000 terrorists just into the United States and elsewhere to attack like US embassies and stuff like that. By the way, we're funding all of this. The US is funding all of this. The US funds the Al Qaeda office or the Taliban's office in like Qatar to the tune of like $87 million a year or something like that. Like, and we have been doing that since 2014. Like, seems like there's this coalition of Islamist jihadists that are like coming together. I'm sure they got hurt a little bit by Iran and everything, but I believe Biden also just opened another, $10 billion for Iran, something like that, to help fund terrorism again. I mean, we saw it. Ironically enough, he opened up $6 billion for humanitarian reasons, and then 10/7 happens. Now another $10 billion to Iran freed up. Who knows what's going to happen, dude? Like, there's a lot going on, and I told you I'm like really obsessed right now with understanding Islamic terrorism. Like, I find those to be like some of the most interesting podcasts to listen to and stuff, and seeing how much of it is actually funded by the United States is fucking unbelievable.
We've been doing it for a long, long time.
Well, of course we have. I mean,
Look at the Mujahideen.
right. We did it in Iraq. We did it in Afghanistan. We do it constantly. Like, because we're funding rebels or opposition. We did it in Libya. They're just terrorist organizations. Like, how do you think these terrorist organizations get enough money? Because they're rebels. And then we're like, well, that serves our purposes. So they start giving them US dollars. And then all of a sudden we have to deal with them. And so what Sarah Adams was saying is, I think it's Hamza bin Laden, Osama
Yes.
bin Laden's son, is building these coalitions by marrying into the heads of these like other terrorist organizations, but the US won't even recognize that he's alive. It's like other countries are telling some of our intelligence people who are looking into this, like, yeah, he's alive, you got it, like, you're right on it. But the CIA won't even acknowledge that Hamza bin Laden is alive.
Yeah, we've lived in like a 4-year black box where decisions are being made up high, and we don't know why. And it's the same thing with like removing the Houthis from the terrorist watch list or terrorist groups. It's like why did you do that? Like I want to know why.
I think it's longer than that. I won't even say that Trump's last administration was any better on this. Like I
Maybe
said,
not.
this is like since 2014 they've been funding the Taliban office in Qatar.
It's a
You
black
know,
box. It's like it's so I don't know. As a
well,
citizen, you just have to ask.
so apparently they wanted to designate the Taliban as a terrorist organization. It was recommended, and the bill just was never sponsored in order to add them to the terrorist watch list. So we just like freely let the Taliban not be a terrorist organization, even though we were fighting them for fucking 20 years in Afghanistan, right? As insurgents. So why wouldn't you put them on the terrorist watch list?
The fish rots from the head, right? So like,
Right.
what's
It's
going
like
on?
it's insane. I mean, obviously we let them back into power in Afghanistan and all that stuff. So I don't know like where all of this goes. It's exceptionally terrifying because the way that they are training these terrorists now, according to this podcast, is that they're all like clean and they don't even allow people's like real names to be used in the training camps. So they're all under aliases, so nobody actually knows anybody, and they get them clean passports and they come into the United States under an actual visa and a passport, even though their intention is to do terrorism here.
Yeah, these aren't the guys that were on the jungle gyms in the desert, like
Mm-mm.
swinging around. It's all sophisticated now. The information's out there.
It's way more sophisticated now than it ever has been. But that's why I find it to be so interesting, right? Because the way they do things, um, under the guise of like something else, it's all behind like a black curtain, and to see that black curtain peeled back a little bit is very interesting.
Yeah, we have a serious problem on our hands for sure. I don't know where to go from there. I did want to mention that by the way, the Syria, that prison Sednaya, they were live streaming HD torture videos and selling them on the dark web. Like
That's
that
not
shit's
shocking.
wild. Not shocking, but definitely wild. So the music in the background may or may not distract me a little bit. I'm doing my best.
It's okay. It'll get shut out from in post when I upload it to like get rid of background noise and stuff. So it should get cut out.
So did you like Heretic?
I think I want to save that for our podcast, for
Okay.
the movie podcast. So I'm still trying to watch movies till the end of the year to get the full list. So I'm trying to watch some of the stuff where I was like, I have to watch this, I have to watch that. Problem is, it's not all out, right? So I want to make my list of 15, but I'm also compiling my list for 2025. Because I try to make this list as early as possible so that I can check it out. The 2025 list could be pretty good. There's some good movies coming out in January for sure. Like Wolfman is coming out, which looks phenomenal. Believe it or not, they're doing a re-release of Seven in IMAX.
Well, cool.
Yeah, I might have to go see that.
Man, that's a great movie. Yeah, I have a top 15 sketched out. I
I
did it.
have an idea, but I don't have them in any particular order. I have an idea of what's going to definitely be on that list, but that list is changing. So, yes, I did like Heretic, but I want to save talking about it for that podcast.
Cool. Yeah,
I
so
think you'll enjoy it, is what I can definitely say about it if you haven't watched it.
I watched it.
Yeah? Okay.
That's all I'll say. Yeah, so I think the plan is we're going to do maybe a podcast before the big movie one, because we still won't see everything before then. There's still stuff coming out. But we might do a podcast with like our least favorite movies and maybe mix in some like video game, because I've always got my top video games of the year. I finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Spectacular game. I'm like totally blown away by it. The way that they captured the essence of Indiana Jones and made it its own thing. Like it's not like Tomb Raider, it's not like Uncharted, which, and those in turn were kind of mimicking Indiana Jones. And yeah, just like it's like the third best Indiana Jones movie, and it's cool.
Considering it's a video game, yeah, that's definitely interesting. I've been trying to get into some of the newer shows. Like I've been watching Landman. I
Landman's
know you
great.
have as well. Are you up to date on like the latest episode?
I didn't watch the last one though.
Dude, there's just so much good shit in it.
The
That show
writing is
is
so good.
it's really good, and Billy Bob Thornton's delivery is second to
Mmm,
none. Like it's
so good.
so good. Um because he's also a dick, but he's a hillbilly, right? Like he calls
Yeah.
himself a hillbilly in the show. And it's just quality. His wife being like a gold digger is when he digs for oil, which is hilarious. Black
Mm-hmm.
gold is just like so funny. I I know what's his face. Who's the billionaire guy? The actor.
Oh, we don't
He
do
was
that
in
here.
Mad Men.
Yeah, we don't do that here. I'll look it up.
Yeah, he was in Mad Men. I can't remember his name, but he's good in it. He's in it like very little, but
John
it's also
Hamm.
yeah, that's it. But it's also a Taylor Sheridan show. So it's the guy that does like all the Yellowstone shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a very interesting look at the oil industry and the prevailing thoughts. Like there's some really like salient points that are made when he talks about oil and stuff like that in the show. So I think it's a really interesting watch.
Especially, and you'll know the scene I'm thinking of, but like when he explains wind turbines to the woman lawyer,
Yeah.
and he's like, this shit is in everything, and we're the ones pulling it out of the ground. And if we could do something better and it was more safe, we probably fucking would, but we can't. This is what we have now, and until we figure our shit out, energy wise, this is it.
Right.
And I was
He
like,
was like, "Do you know how much oil it takes to just lubricate that thing?"
yeah, yeah. And I was like, thank you. Like, finally, somebody, much like a heretic, it was like, oh, there's this thing that, like, it, like, represents my worldview. I've never seen that before. That's so fascinating to me. It's just,
Yeah.
it's really pragmatic in what it's trying to convey. And, I get why nobody wants to use fossil fuels anymore. I don't think I don't mind fossil fuels going away to save the environment, right? Like that's fine. But until like people start taking nuclear seriously and other alternatives, like I just don't have that. I don't have like the bandwidth for that conversation. I
Well,
hate that
that's what
term. I can't believe I just
the
said that.
prevailing hope is, I think, for the Trump administration is they've given a nod to the nuclear industry that we need to lean into that a lot more. So I think who knows if whatever infrastructure bill they end up passing, which we all know never does anything, maybe they'll start building more nuclear reactors.
Well,
I
I'll
mean,
tell you who's going to build them: Nvidia and Microsoft and
yep,
Google.
yep. I mean, we talked about it before. I think Microsoft purchased 3 Mile Island or something like that. They're going to try and reactivate it so that they can build basically a power, or so that they have a power source for building AI because it takes so much computing power that they need actual nuclear reactors to run their server farms and shit. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, there was many years ago somebody had mentioned, putting a pause on AI. I don't know if it was Elon Musk, but it was somebody. They said we just don't understand it enough. And I'm starting to come to the realization that they were probably correct because there's so much involved with it, with how it learns and copyrighted material and things like that. I'm starting to see like, oh, how this could go this way, or it's got legal issues, or it's got ethical issues. How you use AI matters.
Well, yeah, the United CEO, obviously, who was killed, they were using an AI that was rejecting 90% of the claims, even though they were valid claims that should be paid out. And in order to make more money, they used this faulty AI system that denied 90% of the claims. So that was literally the crux of why he got killed by Luigi or whatever his name is.
Luigi.
So you see that, and there are tons of issues with AI now, right? Like, remember back to, like, it wouldn't make, like, a white Nazi or something like that. Like, it was
Yeah.
only making, like, black Nazis, which kind of really wasn't a thing because AI was, like, trained in that regard to do that.
It had biases built into it. It was the same
Right.
thing with like, oh, depict the Civil War, and then it showed the Civil War, but it was all like diversity and stuff, and you're like, that's not.
Right. But, the issue too, you can't stop AI because from a political point of view, it's very well understood that whoever wins the race to AI likely remains the world's largest superpower for the rest of time. So China is already so far ahead of us. They're building coal plants like 2 to 1 basically on anything else so that they can power everything they need for AI. They aren't regulating it so that they can do whatever they want with AI, and they could very easily win that race. So the US, the problem is obviously like with government, everything goes real slow. So it makes it harder for the United States in terms of winning that AI race because of what we do here with obviously again slow building, like all the permits that are required. You don't see that shit in China. Okay. Like they just slave labor their way into like building shit, obviously. And we don't have that here. So it creates an issue for the United States in order to win that race. But you can't just stop researching AI and building AI in the United States because it's going to be a necessity when it comes down to China and like the political games between China, Russia, US.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Meta and Amazon both donated $1 million to the inauguration this year or next year. And also, there's a channel I follow on YouTube called War Graphics, and that gentleman talked about what the future of warfare will be, and amongst other things, like tanks being replaced with like bipedal, whatever, like mechs. I mean, really, that's what he was getting at. That they would, in 25 years, AI will be a key decision maker in a battle plan, and it won't make the decision for the human, but it will give you like I forget what the term was, something like situational whatever, like
Awareness.
yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of just like will help you decide what the best outcome is. And you see it in sports too, like if I go for it on fourth and 2 in a football game, what are the analytics say for that, right? So like you could see how AI would be involved in not only war planning but like kind of everything. It's a really big deal, and I don't have the foresight or the creativity to think about how that's going to be used. But it is interesting to watch companies like we were just talking about earlier, SoundHound, finding their lane in the AI race and seeing how that works out.
Right. And their stock has taken off because they're obviously doing the right things in that lane. I mean, we talked about their stock when it was $3, $4, $5 a share, and it's up to like 19 some dollars a share today. And that's only in the last 6 months. So their lane is obviously very high and highly regarded, and they are highly regarded, or else their stock wouldn't be taking off the way that it is now. It's like 4 times
Yeah.
like what it's worth the last time we talked about it. So
Go look at Palantir. I mean, that's a startup that's like in the sort of like war, right? Like I listen to
yeah.
the Palantir guys a lot. We all should listen to what they say. And that's why I brought up the whole like, is underground warfare under the earth, is that like another battle space? And they're thinking about these things. That's where I got the idea from, because I didn't even know that was a possibility.
Well, for the record, the Earth is hollow, and it leads to where King Kong is. So
That's where Godzilla went to go help King Kong, his friend.
underground warfare. Who knows? I mean,
To add that movie to my shit list, by the way, that movie's
the
going on
Vietnamese
there.
did it. Oh, is it?
Fucking awful
Come
movie.
on. Yeah, I'll have to look because I obviously watch so many bad movies, but I'm definitely interested to see what our top 15s look like
It is
this
your
year. I think we might have a vastly different take on our top movies this year.
sweet, yeah, but the worst movies, oh, so many. Anyway, yeah, like the whole underground thing's interesting, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. But these are all like just ideas that people are thinking about. I don't know, man. AI is not just like go make a funny picture for your friends or whatever. It's something
And by
else.
the way, this is not financial advice.
We should
Don't go out and purchase stock just based off of what we say here.
know, because when you're hearing about it from me, it's already too late for you.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
that's kind of how this goes. So, like, when I don't know.
But you're also the guy that was like, Bitcoin's dead, and here we are. I mean,
I never said Bitcoin was dead. It's not something I'm interested in investing in because I don't like the way it is. I don't like its volatility. I don't like its application. I don't like how you can or can't buy things with it. And I don't like that there's so many other shit coins out there like Cocktua Spitcoin where like any bumfuck can make their own coin and it's like
sure, look at it, okay? Look at it, the digital revolution, right? The dot-com bubble and era. How much of that was probably fucking scams, and then the bubble pops and they're all gone. Like, it's the same thing with crypto. Like, once there's
yeah.
actual wide-scale adoption of crypto, that shit's gonna start to be alive and go away.
But I'm not going to put my money into that knowing not Bitcoin by the way. I'm not talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think
No, no,
those are
you're talking
stable.
about the shit coins. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I'm not going to try to pick a winner and loser in that battle cuz I don't want to. But
Well, we used to be crypto bros here on
you
this
kind of are.
podcast. Not really. I'm divested from most of my crypto. I do still have some. Like, I bought XRP when it was like, I don't know, 50 cents a coin. And I don't even remember how much I have of it, but it's up to like almost 250 a coin now because they were one of the first cryptos actually being sued by the SEC. I think it, yeah, Security Exchange, right? And they actually ended up dropping all of those lawsuits because they were going to lose. And so now XRP moved into the number 4 spot in terms of all cryptos.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I don't know, man. I wasn't a crypto bro. I was just fucking around with play money. And I'm out. I made my money out of it and I'm moving on.
Same.
But stock stuff, man, that is fun right now. There it does not seem to be slowing down at all.
No, but that's exactly why everyone's been saying the economy's fine, right? Like, we've talked about that at length. Like, you know, everyone's telling you the economy is great. It's great if you are a CEO or you have a lot of stock, stuff like that. It's not great if you can't afford your groceries. So
Well, we should give our listeners at least a little something here. What platform do you use to do your stock trading mostly?
I use Robinhood. Just, I know a lot of people hate it, but I think Trump is actually trying to name the CEO of Robinhood to some position. It's just easier that way. Like, I had something else and it was bought by Schwab. Um, and it just wasn't like conducive to what I was doing because at the time they didn't allow the like micro purchasing, like, so that you had to buy one full stock, but I didn't have money to just be buying one full stock, and so you couldn't buy like the smaller shares, and now you can on most platforms. But I was already pretty invested into Robinhood.
I use Ally Invest. That one doesn't have fees for stocks. So you can buy stocks without paying $5 or whatever it was per trade.
Yeah, Robinhood has no fees.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also have Fidelity, but I don't touch that one because that one I don't know.
But I also, so I put like X amount of dollars into my stocks every month, and I still manually allocate the money to like what I want to buy. I don't set up like recurring payments or anything, but I reinvest all my dividends. And I went out and did that autopilot thing under Nancy Pelosi, and I my stocks have been up ever since. It
That's
just
so cool.
follows like her trades and stuff, and it's like linked to my Robinhood. So once money goes into my Robinhood account, I go into my pilot account, set that I want that money, and it goes into like the shit that she purchases and
That's
sells.
awesome.
So it's like automated, and I've been up like quite a bit ever since I started doing it. It's legit. It's one of those things that like definitely you think it's a scam, and it's not.
Well, obviously it works for her. I mean, it's funny. It's so simple, but like, yeah, actually used the dividends on that SoundHound stock, and then that's up unrealized 300% from a dividend. Just
I reinvest all my dividends because I don't believe that it ever looks at a dividend as an unrealized gain if it's reinvested immediately,
yes, exactly.
because it never hits your account as like a cash kind of thing. So
You
it's
just
like
reinvest
better
it.
to just reinvest it into the same company that you're getting the dividend from, because then your dividend will be higher next time.
And you won't
And
get
so,
taxed on it.
right.
Which I don't know why anybody would, yeah, it just makes common sense. You have a dividend from a company and you buy more stock in that company and the dividend grows. That's it. It's very simple.
Yep. Just takes a little bit of money to get started.
All right, Bradley.
Buy stonks, people.
This podcaster is starving.
Go to Wall Street Bets, and this is not financial advice, but if you go to Wall Street Bets and put your money on anything people are talking about in there, you're a sure win.
Allegedly. Except for GameStop. Don't do that. Don't go to GameStop.
Don't do anything on Wall Street Bets.
Don't
If you want to actually earn money.
Yeah, don't listen to us.
Yeah, definitely not. Again, not financial advice.
Not allegedly, none of this is financial advice.
Before you go, I have a show and tell, and my wife wanted me to do this one, and since she's over there riding the Peloton, especially, I have a few items here.
All right, let me grab mine then, and you
I have
do yours.
multiple.
All right, I've got mine ready to go.
Okay, I have 3.
Okay.
This
boy.
is a Wicked popcorn tin.
That's pretty cool.
It's actually made out of tin. Has a little view on top.
Huh.
Gold inside. That's one.
Keep all your seed oils in there.
Yeah, I keep all my seed oils here. This
That's
is the
really cool.
Glinda cup. It's obviously very pink. Not really my color.
Very detailed.
Oh, and the top comes off. It's like a little thing, so you can interchange them, because I'm sure they had a witch one.
Boy, the Hathcock house is just packed with these popcorn.
One more. This is the witch's hat in Wicked.
I like that. That's cool.
This is not a popcorn bucket, by the way. This is actually a cup for drinking out of. Has a little straw hole there.
Oh, that's impractical, but cool.
Yes, these came from California. A mutual friend of ours went and purchased them for my wife and mailed them. So
that is a very sweet and kind gesture by that man.
Yes, the cost of the mail was about just as much as the actual cups.
Okay, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this.
I give you shit for everything.
Yeah, this one's a little extra worse than normal. This is the Charizard EX Pokemon card pack. It's got a Charizard statue in the middle, and I haven't opened it yet, but it's got...
You never will.
Packs of cards. I'm going to open this. It's got packs of cards in it, but I liked it because of Charizard, because he's one of my favorite Pokemons.
Okay, but does it have like... Is that like old and it's just never been opened before?
No, this is brand new.
No, I mean like because the cards. Like, does it have all the other new Pokemon in it, like the stupid ones that weren't from our childhood?
Well, Brad, it's interesting that you ask such a question. The answer is a mix of both. Certain packs have original ones, which I have a few of here at the house. I don't like to talk about it because I don't want to give you jackals any ammunition. But also, they do have the newer ones in some other packs, so you get a mix. And they do the artwork on the cards all the time, so like they do the original 151, but they'll draw them differently, and that's how there's variations, and people collect them because the artwork's kind of badass.
Sure. Isn't that what they said about like fucking hockey trading cards? No, because they're pictures of people.
I'm borderline.
I'm not cartoons. Are you gonna start getting into hockey cards?
I might get into all kinds of cards because I found an app that you add the cards in and it tracks the value in a database.
Don't do it, buddy.
I don't know, man.
You need to take this financial advice. Don't spend your money on trading cards.
I gotta tell you, that
is financial advice. Do not spend your money on trading cards.
I gotta tell you, that $250 that I got free from student loan payments. I don't know, man. Might be going to cards now.
$250 a month on cards.
That's money I don't have to pay to the loan anymore. That's kind of nice.
That's true. Not because of Biden, by the way. From your own good hard work.
Yeah, I did that thing you do where you follow the rules.
Yeah, and pay off your own loans.
Yes. All right, mister.
All right, buddy.
Let's hit the bricks.
All right, I hope I can cut out all of the background noise. It should. So when you go to do the audio and export it, make sure that you cut out the background noise.
I will, and if I sounded like I was kind of distracted, that might have been why. But um, since are we going to record before Christmas time?
We're gonna have to.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. This is my favorite time of the year. I just love Christmas.
Ooh, I hate Christmas.
I might leave my tree up like longer. Last year I took down around March.
I gotta send your gift out here.
I'm not gonna call it a gift. I'm gonna call it more of like this is like a Brad care package.
Oh no, I wrapped yours.
Well, I didn't wrap
Maybe,
yours.
maybe, maybe. If you get it, I'll send it out tomorrow. If you get it, maybe you can open it live on air.
Okay. That'd be fun. You
That
should do
would
the
be
same with
fun.
mine. You said Wednesday I can mail yours out?
You could probably mail it out tomorrow if you wanted to. It should be here. My in-laws will be here to get my mail in case it shows up, so
All right.
I
Well,
wouldn't worry about it.
set your expectations low, but
I always do, but
I
not for you. Just in general.
yeah. Yes, it's like a nice tempo in life. But I will say, I think you're going to get a lot of great use out of what I'm sending you, and I hope it brings you great joy for over a year. I bet you it'll last you over a year.
I'm sure it will.
And it's not alcohol because fuck you, you have plenty of it. You fuck.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm never buying you a bottle of anything, sir.
My care package to you, I'm going to get great joy out of one of the items in there.
Okay, cool. It's either going to be like broken Ray-Bans or a Pokemon. I don't know. All right.
You have no idea what it is.
Okay,
but
cool.
I will get great joy out of it.
Well, I am very much looking forward to that as well. And I think there's something else I got you that you'll appreciate because it's very, very stupid in the best kind of way.
Same. My whole care package to you is generally kind of stupid, but I think you'll appreciate it.
That's good. I do love that. As long as you're not sending me your junk like some other guy I know who just sends me random shit from his office.
Well, I don't send broken glass to people. That's what I don't do. So,
wow, I can't believe you went there. I was just trying to be a nice guy. Goddamn postal service ruined.
Yeah, you can't trust USPS.
But I have to live with that now for the rest of my life.
100%. They fucked you.
And man, low expectations. Okay, sir, get the fuck out of here.
I will. I'll catch you later, bud.
Bye.